we started with a gym who pushed back a little bit on the price and said, you know, $350 a month is too much. And I said, you know what? You go ahead and try it out, and if it doesn't work for you, I'll let you out of the contract. And I'm pretty confident it will. Fast forward 6 months, and I had dinner with the owner who said, man, I don't think you charge enough.
Welcome to Top Rated Gym, the podcast that helps ambitious gym owners build profitable and sustainable fitness businesses. I'm your host, Andrew Menter, and with every episode, we deliver actionable insights, expert advice, and success stories to help you grow your membership, streamline your operations, and achieve that financial stability, even if you struggle with marketing challenges or operational overwhelm or financial limitations in the past. Today, on the Top Rated Gym podcast, we have Andrew Menter, the founder of Physmodo, a revolutionary technology that's changing the way fitness businesses engage their members. Imagine walking to the gym where every workout is tailored to your unique needs, not just based on your goals, but on how your body is moving that day. That's exactly what Andrew technology does. By assessing mobility, posture, and stability in real time, it helps trainers offer personalized recommendation to prevent injuries and maximize performance. Andrew's work is already making waves across 500 of stretch lab locations worldwide, and today he's here to share how gym owners and franchise leaders can use his tech to improve retention, enhance member experience, and create this competitive edge in the crowded fitness space. Let's get started. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Andre. Great to be here.
So, Andrew, let's dive into this unique approach you have to fitness. I want you to give us a little bit about introduction about you, but also where the technology idea came from.
Well, I'm hardly an example of how one should move, which is probably a little bit. There's some hypocrisy there, but it was also the impetus to get this started. Sport-wise, I played tennis at Brown, played rugby for a while, did a bunch of Ironmans, and then CrossFit. So my body doesn't work that well, and everything is on the left side. Achilles tear, ruptured bicep tendon, slap tear, meniscus, all on the left side, and very asymmetric, which is the number 2 cause of injury behind previous injury. And so the goal here was to be able to measure one's movement to try and identify issues before one gets injured. Movement screens aren't new. We just tried to make it quicker, objective, have high throughput, and by simply doing a screen using the overhead squat. So generally speaking, that's why I got excited about starting it, and a couple things that we were trying to address to make this effective.
And what I like about that is technology. It's alive. It's very friendly. You don't need some crazy equipment. Last time you showed me that, it's like literally you can have it in your pocket, right? Open the app, boom, and use it right away. You don't have to have some infrastructure to implement it. Am I right?
You're correct, and that's it. You asked previously. I didn't answer the question. Part of it about really the evolution, and what you mentioned is great. You can just use it, on your iPhone or Android device, and that wasn't the case in 2016 when we started. The technology in the phone, mobile devices wasn't that good, so we used the Kinect camera, which was the camera that was in the Xbox. A 24-inch Dell monitor that was all housed within a big kiosk. It looked great, but high cogs, a lot more difficult to implement. The thing that we liked was that the screen itself was very, very well received. In fact, we partnered with TRX for a number of years and marketed as TRX Maps, which some people may recognize. And the first year that we were with them at URSA, we did 1,000 screens over 2 days, which was super cool. and even people coming back the second day and bringing friends. And again, very well received, but didn't have really, it was a little too cumbersome with all the hardware, and now people have hardware. Most people have a mobile device, so
it's impressive. You have
much
cameras,
better
you
position,
you have a display, you have internet connections, hardware, and processing power all in a pocket. Why not use it, right?
yeah, it's amazing. And I mean, one of the other challenges in the phone's not perfect. There's two cameras here. There's this camera at the back, which is nice, LiDAR 3D camera. And then there's the front camera, which is, we all use that for facial recognition, but that's only a 2D camera. And one of the things we were trying to accomplish, and it was critical, was that you can self-assess.
Mm-hmm.
You can't self-assess if you're looking at the back of your camera because you're not getting any instructions about how to get in position. So the challenge was trying to get this where we could use that front camera and have a lot of really smart developers that were able to use inverse kinematics to be able to take that front camera and use algorithms to effectively make it 3D, so we're capturing all three planes. So the accuracy is exactly the same, I'll say exactly, within 1 or 2% of where we were with 3D. So that was a big win. If we hadn't been able to do that, we'd probably still be running into some of the same challenges.
Wow. And as you said, the huge improvement is for preventing injuries, for athletes, people who are putting their body at a stress and trying to get maximum out of it, for everybody who is in the fitness world. We know how injuries can be devastating. We obviously see the value for the end user, customer who is being screened and assessed. Let's talk a little bit about what's in it for the person on another side who is a personal trainer, who is working directly with that customer, that member. How they can benefit from that technology.
So I can just give it a couple examples, and we can go any direction you want because there's a lot of remote personal training now, and of course at the gyms itself.
Or business itself, a gym itself, a facility itself.
Sure. And I think a lot of gyms that I've been to, you want to engage a member as much as possible, and a lot of them have a body comp. So a new member will come in and do an in-body or eVault or the equivalent and say, okay, Andre, well, you look like you're in great shape. But somebody else, maybe if we can get a training plan together and, get to a certain goal, you're engaging, you're driving some personal training business. And that's great. There's a bit of a challenge in that it's more, you want to change your body comp. It's more than what you do in the gym. It's, what you're eating and doing outside. So this is another means to engage the member. Mm-hmm. And not to say you don't want to check body comp, but we think that movement is the forgotten vital sign. So we have all these things we're checking at the gym, it's body comp, and even just in the healthcare system, whether it's cholesterol or glucose and so forth. You've got to figure out how you move. It's the number one healthcare claim in America. So we love it as potential members coming in, like, hey, this is a part of your membership. It's also a great retention tool. And what I think is kind of cool, your body comp won't change really in any material way for probably about let's call it a month. You can have a trainer sit with a client, have the client do this 30-second movement assessment, do a few correctives that the trainer may know him or herself, or we can provide them, and you can have that client reassess, and you can show the improvement right away. So it really just helps. It's another tool for the trainer to use with a client. It's a tool for the gym itself to try and drive personal training business, which is what we've seen as really the big ROI.
Yes, and personal training is another high rise of the services in the gym industry. It's all win-win. I see this as incredible, easy to use tool that gives you internal assessment, right? I know that and you should guys check it out, the website and Physmodo application, how visualizing is, how cool it is. It's like almost AI that puts you in the app and drives your skeleton around your body and shows you the way you're off. And it's kind of like entertaining at the same time. It's fun to look at it. It's like, oh my God, look at this, right? But it's competitive advantage, right? It's also something that it's worth talking about. You know, people go to the gym and what do they talk about? Hard workout, good sweat, or cool, look at these guys. They have fun. I remember my first Orange Theory. I was like, holy smoke. I have my name on the screen. I have my colors there. The coach calls me on the name and I drop in the green color. Like, this was badass. That's already outdated. Everybody has that. What's the next thing? We got to think about it. Like, it's not only about pushing heart rate. It's about full body. We got to go from in and out. Right? So
Yeah.
how does this help businesses on the side? Like, do you have any feedback from the business owners, what they say about attracting customers, retention? What's their opinion about it?
Yeah, the KPIs for I'd say retention is the toughest one because there's so many other variables. If someone, moves to a different city, then no matter what you have, you're not going to retain that person. What I think is very objective is the ability to drive personal training. I'll give you an example. We started with a gym who pushed back a little bit on the price and said, $350 a month is too much. And I said, you know what? You go ahead and try it out, and if it doesn't work for you, I'll let you out of the contract. I'm pretty confident it will. Fast forward 6 months, I had dinner with the owner who said, man, I don't think you charge enough. Because they were able, as an example, someone came in, new member, and took a screen, had a few issues movement-wise, and there's usually people understand, oh yeah, I understand why, my shoulder's a bit off. I had a rotator cuff issue. And it's a means to drive personal training. So this person, in this particular instance, did a 10-pack personal training session. And that paid for 3 months worth of licensing in 10 minutes.
That's right.
So that is what we're seeing. Now, the fact is that then that person, and you kind of brought it up there about the competition, that client is tracking the scores and it becomes very competitive. So again, the ability to have that retention tool at that point is very attractive. But I think number one, if you have personal training in your gym, I'd be shocked if this didn't have a massive ROI for you.
And looking from the member perspective, they're not going there and experiencing this as Physmodo app. They're experiencing this as your gym, for your gym owners who are listening to this. It's your gym that demonstrating expertise in the field of fitness and physique. It's you and your staff that's rising the bar in how professional you are in approach of assessing people, doing consultation. You have a tools that nobody ever showed them before. And I don't know how long that statement will last because Physmodo is expanding rapidly. Pretty much it's going to be industry standard soon. But what I want to say is, this is not about Physmodo. This is about you positioning yourself as an expert and using tools to do that. You don't do any more things on a paper. You use computer, you use technology. This is that is the next. That's going to be basics, parts of every gym, every fitness wellness facility out there.
Yeah, and what I really like in showing some of the expertise, I think every training session should start with a quick movement assessment. It takes less than a minute. So if you are working with a client and have a training plan, so you have an 8-week training plan, and maybe you're building up to you want to just improve your deadlift, and so we're at 1 rep max deadlift day, and you do the screen and we see that your hip mobility, which is one of the things we measure, is down 15%. I don't know, you were in a plane all day yesterday, long drive, maybe you tweak something. We've got to adjust your training today. Maybe we're not doing deadlifts. Let's do something else that'll help you get a good 1 rep max, which we're not going to do today. So that trainer is being a good trainer in, altering the program, looking really good in front of the client. Yeah, maybe the client's, a little miffed. They're looking forward to the 1 rep max, but it's the smart thing to do. And we're giving you a lot of touch points to address. So again,
Preventing injuries at the
people
same
smarter.
time.
Yeah.
You go in, it's preventing injuries in the same time. You go to the gym with a wrong posture for that day, you didn't sleep well. Damn, you are not only destroying that class, that time, but you're also destroying potential month of recovery if you make a wrong move.
Yeah, and I gave the example earlier about retention. You can't do anything if someone moves to another city, but if someone's injured, they're not going to keep their membership if they can't use it. So yeah, that's it is a preventative measure. Look, something can happen that's acute that we can't necessarily do anything about, but it's not only that day. It's if you look at back injuries or even just back irritation, that it can affect anything, whether it's in the gym or not. That's typically occurring from you'll have poor, again, hip mobility, poor hamstring flexibility, or bad core. So let's measure some of those things, because your back may feel fine today, but it's compensating for those poor 3 movements, and so back is taking on more load and more load and more load, and eventually you're most likely going to have a back problem and put you out. So whether it's preventative for that particular day or just long term, we've got to be measuring movement. I mean, movement really is the forgotten vital sign. Movement has been a forgotten component of fitness, and that's what we're trying to address.
Andrew, I want to simplify this for somebody who's listening. Right? Let's take simple posture. Like people said you have bad posture, or your position is bad. Nobody said how bad it is. Put the number on it. You're the only guy I know that put a number how bad something is. Or let's say opposite to bad, how good it is. Right? There is a how bad things are. And in your, I don't know, I got to share the screen here, and I don't know if the podcast will capture this, but just look at the app. I don't know if you guys can see this. Maybe it's going to be part or not, but go to physmodo.com. And then it assesses the body. You put yourself and then put a skeleton under it, and the technology knows where the joints and positions of the body is supposed to be, and then rank it. And how do you know if you make a progress? Because every time we go in front of the mirror, we look good because we put a posture in the position we want. But while you're working out and sweating, you don't. So my goal is for everybody, listen, do this on yourself, right? Get an app, do self-assessment, see how cool it is. If you like it and you want to do assessment of your staff, then do it. They will like it, and then it's going to take care of itself. And don't take my word for it. I just love technology for it. I'm tech geek, and I'm fitness geek, and I'm wellness geek. I have all the tools and toys you can think about wellness, and all the tests done on my body. I'm totally on biohacking. But when I see technology that's really cool, advanced, and futuristic, I'm happy to share, guys.
Yeah, and then we've really talked about what we call the enterprise version. Think of the iPad that sits at the gym, at the studio, and when you talk about people trying it themselves, they can with our mobile app. And what I think is very important for your audience is that here's another advantage for the trainer, and you may be training somebody, whatever it is, once a week, twice a week, maybe just a couple times a month. The scores that your clients get are seen on a web dashboard that has a lot of information. It tracks history. You can push some protocols to your clients, a fair number of other features. When a client if the client gets the mobile app and screens at home or wherever they are, that score is going to show up on the dashboard. So whether they're screening at the gym or remotely, that score shows up. So if I'm training you and your average hip is a 57, we're sticking with hip a lot on this episode. And then you're at home or wherever you are and you drop from a 57 to a 47. Now I have a means to reach out, probably should if I'm responsible, and say, hey, Andre, what's going on? I noticed your hip's down 10 points. That's a fair amount. What's maybe here's a hip protocol that I want you to work on.
Yeah.
So it's not just a touch point at the gym. It's a touch point anytime.
Anytime, anywhere, and it gives you corrective information, data-driven information. We all like opinions, right? But opinions just poor substitute for real data, all right? Real experience. And there's many technologies coming in the world of mobile, of AI. I live in the world of two things measuring my vitals all the time, from functional medicine to all biohacks, and it's never enough, because the more you know about your body, the better you are. Time is the currency that we don't have. So this not only that brings retention, brings better revenue and growing your business, but it's also save time from your members who are there to accomplish most in the minimum time. So if you have a tool that can guide them to do the workout that is the most beneficial for the time being spent in your facility, they'll appreciate that. And then body will tell you that.
Yeah, I think so, I'm not sure everybody's wearing two, but a lot of people are wearing one, and this is a common theme here, and what I talk about a lot is, you're measuring your sleep and your HRV and your oxidation and your resting heart rate, and all of that's super important, and depending on your device, getting a readiness score or the like. But it's difficult to get a true readiness score for that day if you don't know how your body's moving. And the example I like is when I went on a long hike for a few hours, and it was the summer, and I slept exceptionally well. My HRV was high, and everything was good, great, REM sleep, etc. And my recovery was a 97, and my message was, hey, great job, you're ready, it's a peak day, go crush life, or something like that. But I'm dealing with this meniscus issue, and I knew this hike would be a problem. I decided to do it anyway. And so my score dropped significantly for my movement. And so I was not ready to crush that day. I was ready to sit in the couch and get in my compression boots and just try and get through the day. So it's critical to look at all the data. I mean, I think the data, if I had, my Whoop charge today, I'd actually be wearing it. But let's look at both. Let's look at your physiology. Let's look at your biometrics, and even not on the watch. With glucose monitoring, we're looking at everything. But you got to look at movement. I think it's a number one healthcare claim in America, and I don't think it's that. I say movement is the forgotten vital sign. I'm not sure if that's actually true. Not to be a hypocrite, but those that realize it is important, you can't wake up and get your numbers on how you're moving that day. So you can't do a long movement assessment. I love the FMS; it's terrific, but it takes 15 or 20 minutes. You need someone there, but that was our goal. Self-assess, take 30 seconds. Again, it's not as easy as waking up and seeing how you move, but it's pretty simple, and that really should help give a true readiness.
And Andrew, this is fantastic. People are listening this now, and they're thinking like, okay, how do I try this out? Who is this app for? I know you're inventor, you're founder of the company, an app is on the marketplace, but is this only for businesses? Can somebody who is a personal trainer do it themselves? Can the people who are customers download, pay for it? Like, let's clarify that. Who can use the app? And how do they find a business that has the app? Part of it.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've talked a lot on the business side, but I think on the individual side, it's very accessible. I just go in the app, don't download it, try it for a week. If you like it, you can purchase it. But it's also you've had guests and not just the big box kind of or boutique business, but even in other verticals where fitness is critical. I mean, in youth sports, for instance, right? So we work with Northside Sports Medicine in Atlanta, and they do a lot of athletic training. They partner with a company that does athletic training for all or vast majority of the high schools and travel clubs. Mm-hmm. And there, I think it's like 25,000 kids. So, that's a challenge. And so, in this case, they won't necessarily have the iPad at the school, but all the kids can have, and the vast majority do, have their mobile device, and then what the athletic trainers, strength coaches or whomever, they have that dashboard so they can work with them remotely. And so that's a business that helps the business and it helps the individual. So that's why we tried to have this full suite, enterprise, consumer, dashboard. They don't always need to have all three, but we're trying to have it in every single vertical and have that solution because everyone needs something different.
Absolutely. And technology, guys, is the key that everybody's now looking at. There's certain expectations. First, you got for early adopters. Maybe this is brand new for you who's listening to this. Like, oh my God, what is this? Before you know it, you will see every other gym nearby is using it. And then you're losing your members or hearing they cancel because they have somebody offer them a physical assessment. And then you're behind the curve. I'm thinking that we should be on forefront of technology. We have moral responsibility to do this by our clients, to deliver the best possible experience. There's no better business in the world than the wellness fitness business to engage in this thing. And whatever price is pennies compared to the value that you're contributing, retention you're getting, and competitive advantage you can gain in a, I would say, short period of time until it becomes standard part of the equipment, right? But I love where this is going. I love your technology. I love technology that people come on a podcast with the cameras. You can put 4 cameras into the gym now, connect them to the AI, and it's going to send you a report of how many reps you did and what weight, how much you ran on a treadmill without you even touching the finger or measuring anything. You don't need a wearable device. AI does it now for you, right? So all of this is really enhancing experience, and there's no end to it. It's just like how quickly are we part of the game, or we are always in reactive mode trying to figure out what everybody else does. That's why I do, guys, my job to bring you speakers and guests like Andrew, so you don't have to go around. You come here and get firsthand what it does.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned AI there, and so giving the example of if your client has whatever issue, let's move on from hip. So your client has some sort of shoulder weakness, lack of flexibility. We have a shoulder protocol that we can send them, or you can send them, but we don't want to tell you how to do your job. Mm-hmm. You may have some protocols that you like for shoulder. Mm-hmm. So you can create your own customized, pull from the library and create your own. But here's where we're going. You use yours. There's ours, there's other trainers that use theirs. We're able to see which ones actually work. And so what we're ultimately doing here is we are building that AI recommendation engine so that we can really pinpoint what issues work for which joints, soreness, etc. That's where everything's is going. And so we're fortunate, we can generate some revenue and that's nice, but ultimately when we can tell you what you can do based on your score specifically, correct, I think that's really cool.
And I want to make a reference. You see, everybody has their own role. Personal trainers, gym owners have the role to provide the service. And your job is maybe to use this assessment, these tools, the scales, smart scales, and measure the body composition just to get better understanding of their goals, position, and future, where they are, where they want to be. But ongoing measurement is important. Same as doctor. Doctor doesn't pull your blood, draw your blood, and do a test for your blood work. They send you to the test, and then you rely on somebody who's doing that well to read that data, interpret, and then put diagnosis. Now, in this case, you're a doctor, you're sending tests to the Physmodo app, they're doing assessment, sending you and making recommendations. It's up to you to say, okay, I agree, I don't agree, or I can do this my own. But having these results, but also putting a number on it and seeing how numbers change as you implement certain strategies is really, really way to go. And what I always like is Tony Robbins' quote, progress equals happiness. When you see numbers change a little bit in a positive direction, people feel happy. You deliver joy to the clients. Even if they don't feel it or see it themselves, because we are used to, seeing ourselves and we don't see the change as it's happening. Sometimes we get used to it. But if you see the numbers changing, oh, macaroni. You go from 550 to 55 to 60, you touch 70. It's like, whoa, I'm doing something right. Let me stick to it.
Yeah, exactly. And you can typically, I'd say virtually every single time, see something positive. So sometimes we see people that don't have very good mobility, but a lot of times they will have decent symmetry. Now it's a lot of times because they're not moving enough to give themselves long enough in the squat to be asymmetric. But still, that's very important. You might say, hey, you don't move very well, and we want to get that better. But you have good symmetry, which is the second leading cause of injury, so that's positive. Now what we want to do is we want to get that mobility score up and keep that symmetry score where it is. So a second example I like too, in terms of just giving data, is a lot of people will squat to whatever. Let's say they get to 80 degrees. And then they say, oh, I can do better. I'm going to get to 90 degrees. I'm going to do whatever I can. Well, what invariably happens is that they are going to lean much more forward in order to achieve that greater depth.
Compensate somewhere else.
Absolutely. And so now, again, we're not diagnosing anything, but what's interesting to track there is a lot of times that's because their dorsiflexion's not good. So you can, just those three things that we're measuring, which is your ankle mobility, your forward dorsal lean, and your squat depth, just to see the relationship of how all those work and trying to improve one without compensating for the other. There's just a lot here, and you're always going to be able to show someone something positive that they've done, but there's just a lot of data, and it's fun. And then conversely, and I promise I'll shut up and let you get to the next piece, is that I use the example of poor mobility but good symmetry. You sometimes see a lot of extremely flexible people, and the yogis that are going out there and they can move great, but the stability isn't great. And you have to have both. You have to have good mobility and good stability. So I don't know. I'm excited. I think we
and I'm the same way. I want to see, for example, if I'm using your technology, I wouldn't use it as a added benefit. I would use it as a frontline pitch, marketing piece. I would use it as this competitive advantage that's part of my unique selling proposition. Like Orange Theory's proposition was the tracking and this heart rate monitoring, this orange, they have it in a name, Orange Theory. It's made about orange zone where you need to be for 12 minutes so you can kick on metabolism and get to burning fat after the workout for the next 36 hours. It's really game changing, right? How do you see any of the businesses that are using this as a marketing collateral, lead generation tool, something to attract people, not just to retain and amaze along the way?
Yeah, I think, and you mentioned it earlier, we're in every single stretch lab, which is over 500 in the U.S. I think it's 23 in Australia, and they're also in Japan and Mexico. And it's a great fit there. They don't do personal training, but they stretch people. And so they have, it's great to get the full body, but if there's a particular area that's worse than usual, there's maybe a focus on there. And then the members have that included in their membership. The first time they come in, whether they've already gotten a session or a package or not, they're just coming to check it out. It's a great piece of technology to try and close the deal or sell the bigger package or what not. Now, also, and with a lot of franchise businesses, territories are sold, and then there's there's a lot to do before they actually open up. It's a very, very good lead generation tool. So businesses go out and attract, pre-sale, they'll go out and attract clients, and even selling as a marketing piece when they're open. I'll give you an example. A lot of times there's a partnership, and so the gym will go to an employer. They have a relationship with an employer. So they, whatever relationship they may have, this I think can be very effective because they can go to that employer, they can go to a health fair, they can do whatever they want. And by the way, this can be used outside. The old 3D cameras could not be used outside. So this is another nice advantage on this technology. So the prospective member does a screen, gets a score, and then puts in the email address to get their score sent to them. Now, they don't have to do that, but people want to get their scores sent to them and see all that. Now, as the gym, you can craft a customized message in that email. So it's, hey, thanks for doing the screen, great job. If you haven't signed up, here's insert promotion for that member. So now you don't just have to close it when you're on site at that employer's office. You now have that touch point. And so I like it for lead gen. I like it as the first experience when a potential member comes in. I like it to drive personal training. I mean, they're all different. I think it's a solution, not for everyone, but I think a vast majority.
And what I like about that is a totally new industry, right? It's a rare, guys, to find a product technology now that's such a unique. And of course, there's different approaches that this is not the only way to measure it, but it's convenient way, it's easy way, it's affordable way. Like you don't have to have such a complex hardware in your business to do this. You can be in a park doing it with a bunch of people in it. Now, I want to ask you on behalf of audience, one thing is technology, but understanding importance of this structure, body, everything you know about it, right? How do people get to know more about the industry itself, product itself, need, right, for this product? Like where do you get your knowledge to enhance even more? And what would you recommend somebody out there to look for this industry, for measurement industry and this in biohacking world?
If I understand correctly, I think people just need to identify what they're trying to solve, whether it's in this industry or others, and maybe your personal training business is well above industry average, and you're happy, and your retention is great. But I think we first need to identify what you're trying to solve. And again, going back to I want to start out my gym with. After pre-sale with 200 members, and I only have 150, so I need more lead gen. And so I think a lot of people are very familiar with various movement screens, whether it's functional movement screen, the FMS has been around for 30 years, and there's other movement screens out there. This may seem counterintuitive, but let's just stick with the FMS. I think there's a lot of knowledge out there. A lot of trainers are certified in that. But again, it does take a fair amount of time. If you have a fantastic score on Physmodo, great. We don't really need to dive in a lot more. But if you have a lot of issues, then let's maybe dive a little deeper with something else. We're sticking with one screen, and we don't pretend to get absolutely everything. We don't get, for instance, if you want to do a shoulder rotation, we're not getting that because we're just doing the one movement. We'll get 75, 80% of what you need. But I think again, counterintuitive because we can partner with perceived competitors. So I think, certain movement screens may work. I think you just need to identify, what you want. We can be supplementary, we can be new. But again, those three issues of do you need more members before? Do you need more members now? Do you need to drive more personal training, retention? Figure out what you want and
I want to tell you guys, there's so much changing. If you're listening to this, I have no relationship with Andrew about affiliation with him. So I'm not promoting product to make a commission on this one. I want to say that transparently. This is all value for you guys. And Andrew is recommended as well by other guests on the podcast. So this is all organically coming as a my value added to you. And it's about you adding value to your members. But I also want to ask Andrew to tell people how they can find more information about the product itself. Like, what's the best way for somebody to get in touch with you, with your team, with the product, with experience? People are now listening all about it, but their question is like, okay, where do I go to get it? What's the best way to find about this?
I think you mentioned it earlier. Go on our website and check it out there. I'm very active on LinkedIn.
Let's repeat the website so people don't have to rewind it.
Oh yes, our not that simple name, Physmodo.com. Physmodo.com. So we're switching that to Physmodo.ai. We have that, and I think that's probably more applicable than when we started with all the data we're getting. So go there, reach out to us via the website. We'll set up a demo, and or like I said, we're in 500 and something stretch labs, and depending on where you are, there's probably one near you. Go there and.
So go there, contact people, schedule demo, get yourself app, download it, try it on, see it by yourself. Stop this podcast. I was like, hey, boom, let's pull over. Let's do this right now. Let's try it out. Awesome, Andrew. I think this is something incredible. I want to say thank you on behalf of the community for doing such a great work. This is your persistence and determination for a long time. I know you had a moment to ask yourself, is this all worth it? Technology is not there. You got to patch the different technology. You got to deliver the software. Guys, in order to build technology, it's not click and publish. It's a lot of work. It's dealing with the hardware, dealing with the software, dealing with other things in order to make sure that makes it super simple. That complexity of technology is taken by Andrew and his team, and you have one click, one app, one button to get your results you're looking for. So thank you, Andrew, for sharing such impressive technology. And I'm looking forward to stay in touch and to keep this community informed about the progress and what's new and everything else.
For sure. Thanks for having me. We have some cool things on the roadmap, so a lot more to share down the road.
Awesome, guys. That means you got to click subscribe and share this episode, because when the new one comes in, you don't want to be missing out. And for you who are into this world of fitness, guys, the way that you express gratitude for the content I'm providing and for the speakers, just make sure you put a comment, ask questions. We'll look forward to respond to that. And as well, share, subscribe, and give this content to somebody you know could benefit from the technology like Andrew is bringing, or people in the world of fitness who are grinders, who are those who are in the gyms. Show them. They will give you the feedback that you're looking for. Don't listen to my words. Don't listen to Andrew's word. Listen to your own. Experience is the best replacement for belief. We're here just to make introduction. It's yours to make decision. Thank you guys for listening and watching, and thank you, Andrew, for being such a great guest.
Thank you.
If you are a gym owner looking to become top-rated gym in your area, visit topratedgym.com and grab our free 30-day reputation boost. That's topratedgym.com. I'll add it to the show notes for you. Don't forget to share this with your friends. Stay strong, stay motivated, and keep pushing your gym to the top. Until next time, this is Andre signing off.